Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Happy Wednesday to you all. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic day. Whether your day is just beginning, it's in the middle, or towards the end, I hope that you're having a really great day and that everything is going as planned. And even if things aren't going as planned, I hope that you're able to flex and just kind of like take a step back and maybe realize that some things may not need as much stress as you are giving it. That's definitely a reminder that I have to give myself all the time. So, that hopefully that little bit of advice will help you, because a lot of times I'm like, do I really need to give this much energy to this thing as much as I'm giving it to it right now? So just a little tip. But yeah, I hope that you're having a fantastic day. If you're having a hard day, if you're having troubles come against you, if you're having issues, I encourage you to take the 5-minute reset. The 5-minute reset, if you are new here, is where you take at least 5 minutes to be by yourself, where you come back to baseline, you reset, you kind of just reboot your day, you shake off all the stress and burdens and problems that are coming at you, that are on you, that are kind of weighing you down and causing you to have a less than happy, good, enjoyable day that you would normally have most other days. And I'll go ahead and make a quick list of at least 4 things that you are grateful for. And you can make a list of things that are big, small, medium, it doesn't matter. You can be grateful for walking your dog. You can be grateful for planning a trip in the near future. You can be grateful for getting a new pattern of mask that you get to wear every day. It doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of it, because that means that your gratitude list can be endless, because there are so many things in this world that you can be grateful for. And in addition to that, if you have time, I encourage you to do some problem solving of whatever is causing you issues, causing you stress, coming at you, bringing down your day, so that you can combat it and have a good rest of your day or a good tomorrow. But last but not least, make sure that by the time you finish your 5-minute reset, you are able to walk away from your day feeling neutral, if not positive, about the rest of the day. Because despite what you're going through, despite the issues that you're experiencing, if you look back and reflect back on the gratitude list that you made of at least 4 things, you'll realize that despite what's happening to you right now, there's still so many things to be grateful for. There's so many things to be happy about. So I just encourage you, if you're having a hard day, to make sure you try to do the 5-minute reset. Just a reminder that this week we are talking about relationship struggles. And today, Wednesday, we're going to talk about how to trust again. And the reason, I think I told you guys on Monday, if you listened to Monday's episode, the reason that I decided to do a whole week talking about relationship struggles is because someone messaged me and was like, hey, how do I start trusting again in a new relationship after my trust has been broken in a previous one? And I was like, I don't really have anything on that, but I think I will develop a week of podcast episodes that will kind of talk about that, speak on that. And so today I really want to talk about that, because I understand that trust is such an important part of relationships. So I thought it would be super helpful to chat about that today. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. Trust is one of the most important pieces of a relationship, but sometimes that trust can be broken because of infidelity, lies, being taken for granted, or the other person just chooses to treat you wrong. But I am here to share some ways you can learn how to trust again and give new relationships another shot, because just because you've been heartbroken, or someone has, cheated on you or done you wrong in the past, does not mean that every other relationship is going to be like that. It doesn't mean that you're a magnet for that at all whatsoever. I want you to put away any of those negative thoughts that you may have about that, because that's not true. One relationship doesn't, even if it's a deep one, even if it was one that was long, does not define how all relationships will be for you. So please remember that. So first, take whatever time you need to grieve. No matter how the trust was broken, you will need time to heal. That is just the end all be all. That is an important fact for you to know. There's no reason to just disregard that healing period that you will so need and be appreciative if you actually take it. The time frame on that will differ depending upon how you process things and honestly what caused the trust issues. But I am here to tell you that you need to take the time to process what happened, work through your feelings, and don't rush your healing journey. There's no reason to rush it, because even if you are getting out of a relationship and you, because of whatever happened, and then you quote unquote stumble upon someone else that's fantastic, that's super into you, that wants to date you, it doesn't mean you have to jump back into that. Maybe you can become friends first, or maybe you're already friends with this person and then you realize their romantic intentions, and you can still request to take it slow. Just because you don't jump right into it when they're ready doesn't mean that, that you have to. It doesn't mean that you're going to miss out. And if you do quote unquote miss out, if they're okay, well, I'm not going to wait any longer, then that's probably not the person you want to be with anyway, right? If they're not willing to actually take your feelings and emotions seriously, if they're not willing to actually be patient and do that by giving you time and caring for you in that way, they're not worth it. I'm here to tell you that they're not worth it, because why would anyone that actually truly has your best interests in mind and cares for you and could potentially love you after some time, why would they be pushing you to be in a relationship with them? All they're doing is thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you at all. So please do not rush your healing journey. Make sure you take the time to heal, to figure out all your feelings and emotions about what happened, so that you do not carry all of that baggage into the next relationship that you get into, okay? Next, get in touch with your inner self. This might sound silly, but it's important to block out some time for peaceful, quiet moments. And this could be prayer, meditation, or just sitting quietly in a serene environment. The reason this is important is because usually when trust issues happen, you also end up not trusting yourself anymore, because you think you aren't able to make sound judgments, see red flags of someone breaking your trust again, or feel like you can make decisions that won't cause you hurt in the end. But the truth is, and you're not going to like this, but the truth is there is nothing you can do to completely avoid it from happening in the future. There is nothing you can do. And, people might tell you, oh, there's things you can do because you're able to learn how to read people and this, that, and the other, and just avoid a certain types, certain stereotypical kind of people. But that stuff doesn't really work in the end, because you can't tell the future and you don't know what's going to happen. And you don't know what's going to come your way. Just as you don't know what amazing good things are going to come your way, you don't know what bad things are going to come your way. And you have to be able to be resilient and flexible and understand that life is uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen, but we need to continue to build our strength and courage to go into every day knowing that we are strong enough to handle whatever is thrown at us. And, even if we do break down and get super emotional, it's totally fine. We're still growing in those moments, and we need to move forward. So please, no, there's nothing you really can do. But you can work on trusting yourself again and listening to your inner voice and intuition. This will help you make the decisions you need to in the future and maybe be more aware of possible red flags. So you can definitely, I'm not saying you should go out there and learn how to completely profile people, but you can just learn to trust your gut and trust your intuition more, because, maybe in the relationship that you were in where your trust was broken, you didn't necessarily trust those things because you were afraid it was wrong, or you were just in love and you're like, no, it's fine. Or, you just had trouble seeing the signs, or maybe you didn't, but you didn't realize that those were the signs, or whatever it may be that happened. If you just get in tune with yourself and learn to get to know yourself a little better, and just have those quiet moments for you to just kind of get in tune with that inner voice that you have, you will feel so much stronger and more confident going into your next relationship to know what to look out for if there are any really big red flags, and just if your gut is telling you, no, this is not the right person, and then be able to take a step back or even walk away. So I would encourage you, get in touch with your inner self. Make communication a top priority. Building trust with someone requires really good communication, really good communication. You need to be open and honest with your partner and encourage them to do so as well. If you are feeling uncomfortable about something, speak up and let them know. And make sure you define how important communication is to you from the start of the relationship. I totally believe that from the jump, you should be telling them, I really want to be open and honest. I want to be transparent. Let's just not, there's definitely, you don't have to give away the whole farm or anything. You can probably keep some stuff back that maybe doesn't necessarily need to be known until you actually become in a deeper relationship. I'm not saying to spill all your deep, dark secrets. I'm just saying that you should be open and honest and have that open flow of communication, so that if things do come up or you do feel uncomfortable, you're able to tell them and tell them why, and they can tell you, vice versa. So you just feel like you're in a comfortable space and you're on an equal playing field in addition. In addition, be aware of how your partner responds when you communicate about tough subjects. And again, I'm not telling you to learn how to profile people, but it's body language says so many things, and body language is such a huge part of communication. So you can look and see, are they sincere? Or are they defensive? This will also help you clue into whether they are truly being truthful with their words and intentions. So I would just make sure that communication is number one and that you're talking to each other, and just make sure that you don't mix up communication with badgering them, being on top of them, asking them everything they do, because that's a little invasive and a little too much, because you are learning to build trust. And I understand if your trust is already broken and you're walking into this new thing, you're like, Sabrina, you don't understand. I just feel like I need to know everything that's happening with that person so I don't get my heart broken again. You're not going to know whether that's going to happen or not, and you can't be overly clingy or just overly over the top with asking them everything they're doing and micromanaging their every move, because that's not going to work either. There has to be a happy medium. So I would say stick with just having really good open communication with them, and you'll be on the right track. Next, oh my gosh, you guys are going to be like, no, I can't believe she brought this up. Forgiveness is hard but necessary. I know this won't be something you want to do, but it's something you need to do. If you keep all those negative feelings from your trust being abused, you're only hurting yourself. It's that whole thing about you're holding it inside and you think it's like giving them poison, but really you're only poisoning yourself. I totally butchered that, but you know what I'm talking about. That phrase that everyone talks about. So anyway, I would just encourage you to realize that there is no benefit to you to hold all of that negativity inside, to hold all those negative feelings inside, be holding a grudge. It's not really helping anyone, and it's for sure helping you the least. And I'm not telling you to forget what happened, but to forgive that person and forgive yourself if you are blaming anything that happened on yourself. And by giving forgiveness, you are empowering yourself to come face to face with what happened, let it go, and move on without it lingering or haunting you. You don't want this dark cloud hovering over you for the rest of time because you just can't let go of the bad things that have happened to you. Bad things have happened to almost everyone, I would say, and maybe they weren't cheated on or lied to, or their trust wasn't broken in some way, but some really, really terrible things have happened to people, and they've been able to have forgiveness for that person and move on. I have had terrible things happen to me, and I've actually, it took me a while, but I was able to give forgiveness to those people because it was eating me up inside, and it wasn't doing anything to them, because even though they knew that I was really upset at what they did to me, they still were living their life. They still were moving on. It wasn't like tearing them up inside, and whether it is tearing that other person up inside or not, that is not even part of the equation. The part is that you're the one holding that grudge. You're the one holding all those negative feelings in and not wanting to let them go, and they're not doing you any favors. They're not helping you actually find the person that's going to be true to you and care for you and love you and be there for you and not break your trust. No, they're not. They're just holding you back. They're kind of holding you hostage in a way, because all you're doing is grasping at them and being like, oh my gosh, this person did me wrong, and then using that as a shield to deflect any other good things that could come your way. But honestly, how are you going to see those good things if you're continuing to hide behind this unforgiveness that you have because you can't let it go? And you think once you let it go that it didn't matter, that it'll disappear into the world, and it might feel like that at first, but you'll feel so much better. You'll feel so much lighter. You'll feel so much freer if you just forgive them and move on. And again, I'm not saying you have to forget by any means, and it doesn't mean that if you forgive someone that you're saying that what they did to you is okay. That's not happening either. But you're just not letting it affect you anymore. You're not letting them, in a way, what they did to you, hold power over you anymore. You're letting it go. You're moving on. You're living your best life. Next, do not dwell on the past. This is good advice for anything bad that happens in life in general. But when your trust is compromised, you might want to hold on to that hurt, kind of like unforgiveness, because you are afraid of it happening again or as an excuse to not try again. I know that's some real truth there, you guys. Truth bomb. I'm here to tell you that part of your healing includes not dwelling on what happened. It will not help you prevent it from happening again and only hold you back from opening your heart again. So, in addition to offering forgiveness, even whether it's directly to them or not, or just forgiving them in your own heart and mind and moving on, you need to not dwell on what happened, because that's just the same. It's holding you back. It's holding you hostage. It's not allowing you to grow and move forward and, and become an even better person and have better experiences and be with someone that's like a million times better than the person that hurt you. So I want to encourage you, do not dwell on the past. And I'm going to take a moment, take a step back and realize, okay, maybe you're like, Sabrina, you don't understand. I've decided to give my partner, my spouse, my boyfriend, another chance after hurting me. Okay, that's fine. That's great. That is your decision to make. And I am not here to go against it at all whatsoever. And so if that is the situation that you're in, I encourage you even more so to forgive them. Going back to the last point, forgive them. Do not hold on to that grudge. That will definitely end the relationship. Like if you're continuing to hold that against them and above them, that's you're not going to heal and be able to move on. But in addition, you do not want to dwell on what happened, because if you're continuing to dwell on it, you're continuing to remember that pain, you're reliving that pain day in and day out, or however many times you decide to bring it up in your mind and your heart. And how are you supposed to start again, like restart the relationship? How are you supposed to start a new chapter, a new season of that relationship if you are continually dwelling on the pain that was administered in the first place? Like, you're not going to be able to do that. So it's important, like whether you're going to stay with that person and give them another chance or you're going to move on. You cannot dwell on what happened. It's not going to help you. It's not going to make you stronger or better. You just got to move on and know that it's better just tucked away than always brought to the forefront. Next, you're responsible for your own happiness. I talk about this all the time. I really do, because it fits right in with boundaries. And you guys know, if you're not new here, I love talking about personal boundaries. So I talk about this all the time, so I will make it quick. You get to decide when you want to move on and move forward. You get to decide when you want to try getting into a new relationship again. And you get to decide when this hurt is no longer holding you back from being happy again. If what you need to do is be alone for a bit before jumping into something new, then do it. But do not use the excuse of what happened to you as your reason you cannot be happy. It will only hold up for so long. So let's say that your friends are like, hey, let's go out. Maybe we'll meet some new people. Or maybe maybe you'll meet a new guy, or maybe someone wants to set you up and like bring someone and you guys all go on like a double date together, or maybe it's just getting out and trying new things in general where you potentially might meet someone that strikes your fancy. But you're continually using the pain that happened to you, the problem, the trust issues that you have gone through as your reason to not try new things, not to go out with friends, not to date anyone right now. And yes, if you need to have some alone time and be single for a while, or just need to take a break, that's fine. That's your decision. But within that, do not use the excuse of the pain that you have as a reason why you can't be happy, because you get to make the decision when you're going to be happy again, when you're going to be fine, when you're going to not let it affect everything else that's going on in your life. You get to make that decision. That is your choice. That is your right, because it is your feelings and you are responsible for your feelings, emotion, decisions. And it's so important that I hammer this through, because people that have been hurt, like let's say that you're staying in the relationship and you're giving the partner a second chance. Okay, that's great. But you can't continually tell them that, you can't be rude or mean or vengeful or anything like that to them on the regular, and then always be throwing what they did to you back in their face as a reason why you can't be happy and loving and caring to them anymore. And granted, maybe there's a mourning period in there for sure where you're like, okay, I'm going to forgive you, but I need some time. But you can't just like use the excuse of what happened to you forever. okay? You can't. It's only going to last for so long. So whether you're staying in the relationship or not, it turns into an excuse pretty quickly. So you get to decide when you're going to move on, when you're going to like start being happy again, where you're going to like live your life and just venture out and know that yes, this awful thing happened to you, but you are bigger and stronger than that, and you can move forward. So, lastly, taking it slow when entering new relationships is important. Evaluate whether or not you get to know someone longer than last time you were in a relationship. Maybe you need to get more comfortable. Let yourself get comfortable before moving to any other steps in the relationship, and don't rush it. So basically, I just wanted to end this by reminding you that if you are getting into a new relationship, or even if you have decided to forgive your partner and you want to move forward into a new season, a new stage of the relationship, just take it slow. Maybe you need to build that, for sure you need to build that trust up again. But if you want to do it slower, if you need to have more boundaries up for a temporary amount of time, then you do you. You need to do what is going to be best for you. There's no reason to rush it. You don't have to just jump back into things. And I feel like this is especially very important for those people to know if you are giving your partner another chance after they've hurt you, because they maybe or maybe not might assume that everything is just going to go back to normal, back to the way it was. But if that is not how you feel and that's not how you want to do it, and you need to ease back into it, then you need to be open and honest about that, communicate it, and then take it easy. Maybe you don't feel comfortable sleeping in the same bed right away. That's fine. I think that's fine, especially if the trust that was broken had to do with infidelity and cheating. So I get that. Maybe you have to create other boundaries, other things to kind of take slow, maybe you don't want to jump back into any sort of sexual relations or anything like that. You have to create those boundaries, whatever ones will make you feel better, and then progress on your own timetable, because whatever is going to make you feel better, whatever is going to get you back to your quote-unquote regular self, whatever is going to help you heal is what you need to do. And do not let anyone try to force you to go quicker, even if it is your partner that you've given another chance to, especially them. Okay, they do not get the right to tell you how things should be. Granted, you should maybe listen to what their suggestions would, but you ultimately get to make the decision, because it's your feelings and your choices your choices and decisions that you get to make. So just remember that. But that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope that it actually was helpful and that you got good information out of it. And I encourage you that if you really like this episode and you know someone else that would, I encourage you, please, 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 to share it with them. I would so appreciate that. Come visit me over on Instagram. I am at Sabrina Joy Perozzo. You're welcome to check out my website, which is sabrinajoy.com. Also, my email address is in the description box, along with all the notes for the show. For you to send me any questions, comments, concerns, or prayer requests, I would love to hear from you. Absolutely. But thank you so much for listening. I hope you come back and listen to the rest of the episodes for this week, and then the other 2 episodes that I've aired already. But until next time, I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.